All right, people. So let's begin this. Either consciously or unconsciously, we've applied these strategies in our lives. And a lot of the times we're just not paying attention. These are strategies that we do unconsciously when people end up falling in love with us. These are strategies that when you meet someone and you don't like them, but they end up liking you back, these are strategies that we apply. The problem is that we're not aware of it. And if you learn these strategies not just unlocks people's heart, not just opens them up for influence in a positive way where you could use it in a healthy way, but also it can help you win elections. It can help you influence your kids. It can help you influence your class if you're a teacher. It can help you be a better communicator. And above all, it can prevent you from being a suffocating presence where your presence annoys people. All right, where your presence pushes people away, where you're the type of person that people don't invite you to the parties. These strategies are applicable not just to men, not just to women, but to everyone, to my evil grandma, to my nieces, to my mom. Apply this and you'll notice that people will gravitate towards you more in a positive direction. So let's begin with the video. And if you want to learn more about this, obviously you guys can attend my seminar in London, or in London about non-verbal communication. You can purchase the tickets on the description down below. It says London seminar. It's at the end of July. I rarely have seminars there. I come there every few years, so take up that opportunity. And also you guys can pre-order my course Emotional Mastery, because by doing that you're able to apply these strategies without having the fear that naturally comes with stepping out of your comfort zone. It's a 5 to 6 week meditation course that will allow you to become more social, more charismatic, and more magnetic towards people in a healthy way. All right, now look, let's begin with the video. Look, man. Okay, so the first heart hack is this: never making the first move. Because a lot of the times when we make the first move, it could come across as too aggressive when pursuing them, right? It could come across as too desperate. When you pursue people aggressively, it comes across as needy, and sometimes if you're a man or an unattractive man, to be more specific, it comes across as threatening. It could turn people off. Right? It could turn people off if you're trying to aggressively pursue something, and also it looks unsophisticated and too obvious, and it raises people's defenses. So what you want to do is learn to stay calm through practicing meditation and not following the urge to make the first move, because it does take patience, and letting people come to you first. You get them to because by letting people come to you first, by them taking the first step, in their minds, they rationalize, this person has to be high value, this person has to be important if I'm making the first move. Because the only time people make the first move is when they think you're important, right? Now, the second thing is that it gives you more strategic advantage by letting people make the first move. It's like, also, letting people come to you changes your whole strategy of life. When you start thinking from the perspective of letting people come to you, you start realizing that you have to focus on yourself and to provide value by building yourself up as a valuable person. It's like guys who want to get girls, as an example. They learn how to talk to girls by approaching them. Okay, that's totally fine. That could work. But that's not letting them come to you. As opposed to building themselves up, getting in shape, eating healthier, getting better sleep, building themselves up in their company, getting good at something, becoming a leader at something, and becoming such an attractive figure by accumulating success, working on yourself, improving yourself, that then women come to you. Or if you're a woman and you're out of shape and you're letting yourself go and you're bitter with life, and then because you feel that inferiority mentally, then you start pursuing guys. Right? Then you start messaging them, hitting them up first. Why? Rather than doing that, why not just work on yourself? Start eating healthier, start thinking healthier, going to therapy, eating better, losing weight, getting in shape. People, and it's not just a superficial thing, it's an internal thing. Being overweight is not healthy. You could develop diabetes, you could develop a lot of depression. And if you have a kid under those states where you're in a state of like being unhealthy, you can pass on those unhealthy genes to your baby. It's like having a kid while being addicted to crack. You're gonna have a crack baby. So that's why people will not gravitate towards you if you're unhealthy. Become more healthier, and then people will come to you. But if you deny yourself the opportunity to improve on yourself, you're just going to be thinking from a perspective of chasing people. Don't do that. You lose all leverage if you begin chasing people unnecessarily, right? So let people come to you. To develop this, you have to have patience. Let them make the first move. So, for example, I met a girl one time at a thing, and she looked like she liked me. She asked for my number, and I gave her my number, but I didn't want to pursue her because I didn't want to seem like my whole intention was just to talk to her. She was just there. Me and her were the only colored people in the room, so we just gravitated towards each other. But I didn't want to give off the impression that I was trying to hit on her. Long story short, she hit me up. Long story short, she asked me to go get a drink with her. And long story short, she made the move and kissed me. I was just a victim. I was just there, going along for the ride, ladies and gentlemen. And it's so much more rewarding when you let them make them first move, because also it tells you they actually like you. There is no denial. There's no doubt. You do not need to hit me up to find out if they like you. That's the first one. Second one. By the way, people, a lot of you guys have subscribed and haven't hit the notification button. What is your problem? Hit the notification for all. It'll say it right there. Right there it says hit notification for all. Do that right now, please. Hit the notification for all, because a lot of you guys are not getting notified. All right? Do that while I'm closing the channel. This one is, all the great leaders do this. All the great leaders, all the great writers, all the great public figures. Michael Jackson did this one. Napoleon did this one. Leonardo da Vinci did this. Like so many people do this, and it's this: learn to speak less, learn to say less than necessary. And this is one of the 48 laws of power, but it applies to everything in life. People who are considered fools, people who are considered idiots, people who are considered desperate and needy have this one quality, is that they speak too much. For example, Andrew Tate just did an interview while a criminal trial was going on. My dude, I don't care how smart you are. You're showing me you're not that smart because you're speaking unnecessarily. This is not the time to speak. This is... Sorry, there's an ant. I'm not killing it. I don't kill animals too much unless I eat them. This is the time to stay quiet. We're going to go to a quick commercial break to explain what this means. All right, people. So if you haven't had a chance to purchase any of my courses, which is, I don't know how you haven't after watching all of these videos, I'm giving you guys an opportunity to purchase all of them now at a bundled price, right? By purchasing it, instead of paying $4.93, you guys can pay $3.94. So that means you get Nice Girl. That means you get the Psychological Game of Attraction. That means you get Natural Chemistry. And that means you get a bunch of other bonuses, all at a 20% off discounted rate, right? And if you guys do not enjoy that, you guys can just ask me for your money back and I'll give it back. I have never, ever not said no to a refund, right? But these courses are incredible because they tackle, if you're single, it's for the Psychological Game of Attraction. Natural Chemistry is for women who are in relationships and want to improve it. And Nice Girl is more about assertiveness, which will allow you to keep what you have. This is like a bunch of, if you ever want to work with me and you want to know exactly what I teach, this is it. It just doesn't get any better than that. Or if you guys do not want to purchase all of the bonuses, you guys can just get the bundle where you get all of the courses without the bundles for just $2. So click on the description down below. You could purchase it right now, and I'll see you guys inside. Okay, we're back. Listen to me. And the reason why is because everything you use will be used against you. Learn to be quiet. Learn the circumstances when not to speak. So if somebody texts you and they're not giving you what you want, or they're acting uncertain about meeting you, or they haven't responded to you, as an example, shh, don't say nothing. It gets them to think. Absence creates an active imagination, pretty much. When you meditate, if you meditate for a long time, you'll notice your brain will begin to create imaginations, create things. You start seeing visions. If you don't take a drug for a while, you'll start to have vivid dream of taking the drug. If you want somebody to fantasize about you, re- just literally say less than necessary. If you want them to think about what you mean, if you want them to keep thinking about what you said to them, where they repeat what you said, say less than necessary in their minds, because what you say isn't complete, because you're learning to speak less. They'll start thinking about the things that you've said, even when you're not there. But also, learning not to reveal too much. If you have a great personality, for example, I play the drums. You guys don't know that. I play the drums. I used to be in a band when I was a kid. I do jujitsu. There are a lot of things that I don't say if I'm meeting a girl on a date. There's some things I just won't say in the first date. I'll tell them that I do art in YouTube, but everything else that I do, I keep it to myself. I let them know over time, because it's just fun, and it shows security. It shows that I'm not so eager to dump everything that I do. It's like having a great TV show and revealing the end in the first episode. My dude, there's 5 more seasons. Let them know you slowly. Don't reveal too much. Listen more than you talk as well. Let them feel like they're amazing. There was this lady said that with this one guy, I talked to him and I felt like he was the most interesting person. But when I talked to Disraeli, he was a guy from England. When I talked to Disraeli, I felt like I was the most interesting person after talking to him. Let people talk more than you. Learn to sit back and listen more. And the reason why is because one, people love to talk. They'll associate you and think you're so interesting even though they're doing all the talking. And 2, by you not revealing too much, you maintain yourself in mystery, and also you're polite. And if they want to really ask you, you answer them, but you just don't willingly give it. Let them ask you those things. Don't be talking about the weather and then talk about your Lamborghini. Right? Don't reveal all of your thoughts and feelings, especially about politics, especially about controversial things. Let them guess it. It's more fun, right? If you like the person, don't express that you like them. Let them see it through your actions and your nonverbals. Let their brains do all the work. Don't give them the answer. You're a bad teacher. Don't reveal all of your thoughts. Use silence when talking. When you're talking to people, don't speak fast. Learn how to have silence in between your words. It keeps them more engaged when they listen to you. Also, learn when to pause. When there's a moment of when you're talking, learn when to pause in conversation. For example, it's like me saying, I love to go to Miami because it's actually the best place to be in. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that, right? The pause creates an anticipation, and then the lowering of the voice, I'm insinuating why I like Miami. You see, and that creates an aura of charisma. That wow, what does that mean? But that look and that pause, it hacks people's minds. It gets them out of their heads. It gets them to look at you more. When listening, learn to pause. When somebody's talking to you, when a man, a woman is talking to you, when they're done talking, learn to pause in between what you say and what they say, because they may have more to say and they may reveal things about themselves that you could use so that you can make their interaction with you more interesting, so that you could use it and relate to them more, make them feel heard, like a proper psychologist listens to their clients. If a psychologist does not do this, I'm not a psychologist, but I did training in the mental health field for a few years, worked with addicts, worked with children for a few years. But if you're a great psychotherapist or mental health worker, this is the most important part, not the advice you give. Because if people do not feel heard, they're not going to open up, and they'll close themselves down to their influence, to your influence. And once they close themselves off to your influence, it's very difficult to open it up. Well, we could show you how to do that. Remember that look, right? When I made that look to you guys knew that there was something more that I'm saying when I did that, right? We're going to talk about the silence and the looks, right? Somebody says, so Alexis, what do you do for work? I mean, I'm an artist and I paint for a living. How about you? Clearly, you're like, okay, there's something more to this. Why? Tell me, what do you mean? The look, the silence indicates it's something more, but also my look says more than my words, and that's what you want to learn how to do. Don't speak too much. This means texting and also in real life. Stop sending books, people. Learn to be concise. In fact, ask ChatGPT, how do I make this 5-page book that I sent this person into a 4-sentence word? You could do that, right? By the way, people, do not use ChatGPT. ChatGPT will betray you. That shit don't work. Like, it's good for random facts, but if you want to ask ChatGPT for dating advice, it's gonna sound legit. It's gonna sound like Matthew Hussey. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's gonna sound like some like angelic type of advice. All right. So never let them know what you really want. If you want a relationship, never let them know that, but express it through your looks and through your gaze, right? How would you act if you want a relationship? Act it that way, but don't express it. Make it more fun. Make them do the work. It's more rewarding. It's how the human animal works. You can hint at it with your looks. For example, if a woman says, Alexis, are you just here to get the pom pom? Let's just say I am looking for the pom pom. She says, are you just looking for the pom pom? Are we like, what? Of course not. I just want to be friends. I would never want something like that. That's so rude. Come on, man. Right? I'm doing a creepy look, I get it, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So always hint at what you want with your looks, not with your words. This is something you guys want to practice in daily life. Also, it reveals with your actions. Reveal what you want with your actions, not through your words. Never through your words unless they do it first. So if they express what they want, you could express it. You could do that. That's fine, right? There's nothing wrong as long as they make the first move. Now, the next one. Never qualify yourself verbally or non-verbally. When I mean qualifying yourself, I mean letting people know why they should be with you. That's you're supplicating. That looks desperate. It turns people off. I don't care who you are, that turns people off. Stop seeking people who like you through your nonverbal. It's like when you go to a public place. The people who are just looking around, trying to make eye contact. Those are the ones that you consider to be someone who, quote unquote, in the context of a social polite setting, low value. But the person who's leaning back, who's just chilling, relaxed, not needing to make eye contact, but just relax, listening to people on the side. That person, without knowing who they are, you're gonna assume that person is more confident. That's just how that works, right? So that's what I mean. Even when you're talking to people, leaning back, not having any supplicating body language is attractive. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not bad. Doing this is not bad, right? But if you're gonna do this, if you're gonna do this, at least open your body language up. Or better yet, lean back and listen to people. Lean back and keep your body open. Don't fucking do that, right? Just keep your body open, right? When you talk, learn to use your hands. Learn to take up space when you talk to people. If you're talking to me and this is how I'm talking, I'm listening to you, you're saying that, you're gonna have the unconscious impression that I have confidence. But then if I'm like this, right? Yeah, it's gonna look like I'm listening. But if you were to say who looks more confident, you're gonna go with the open body. And then if you want to make it even better, you could just like that. Then you can lean over like that. You can lean, but just make sure you lean like this at least. Try to look as relaxed as possible in whatever way you could do it, right? So that's the body language aspect. Now the qualifying also body language is reacting fast. Alexis, what? Somebody called me, right? Rather than Alexis, somebody called me. You know? So it's kind of like, imagine this is somebody saying my name. Like a dog. You're like a fucking dog. You're like a dog. You want to be like, you're not seeking validation, because when you're seeking validation, you're like, your antennas are up. You're like, I feel so insecure. I need somebody to validate me. You're like this, like this, like this. When you relax it and move slower, talk slower, you give off the sign that you're not looking for somebody to validate you. But also verbally, be calm and at ease with yourself. Don't verbally try to convince people how awesome you are and why they should like you, unless you're in an interview. Act as though you are accepted without being obnoxious. For example, there's a scene from Game of Thrones where the little guy is about to get his ass handed to him. He's about to get killed by Daenerys. And she says, why should I keep you and not kill you? Because you betrayed your family. And he said, Your Honor, the reason why I'm here is because out of all the kings and queens, I picked you for me to give advice. Because out of all of them, you're the one that has the potential. So I risked my life. Because out of all of them, I feel like you're the one. I know. But the point is, the way he worded it made it seem like he chose her, not the opposite way around. Right? And a lot of the times, people trick us into qualifying ourselves to them. How? We say, somebody says, so why should I be, so are you a good cook? And you're like, yeah, I am. I can cook really good. I can make the best steak dinner. And you're like, oh, nice, that's awesome. I like that a lot. Thank you, Tyrone. And you're like, yeah, I like that's pretty cool. I like people who cook dinner. That's awesome. That's an example, right? What you're doing right there is qualifying yourself. You're looking like, you'll say, hey, do you like that? Do you like that? Don't qualify yourself. Act as though you're already accepted without being obnoxious about it. Even if you sense somebody's disapproval, don't qualify yourself. Don't let it infect your inner state. I remember one time I was smoking weed, and I smoked so much weed I couldn't believe it. And I went up to this girl, beautiful girl, hot as, she was the whole in a positive way. Her whole body was jiggling. It was unbelievable. I went up to her. I was like, yo, but I was high. So I was like, hey, I saw you, and I had to say hi. Like, I just had to say hi. But I sensed she was nervous. She was like, yeah, thank you. And because she was so nervous, I could feel her emotions. I got nervous. So it was unbelievable. I got fucking nervous. What she felt, I felt. It got to the point where she was like, what you did was shaking. What you did was very brave, and I think any woman would be happy to be with you. And I was like, thank you. And I walked away. And as I'm walking away, I'm like, I cannot believe I let her emotional state affect me like that. It was unbelievable. And the reason why was because I was seeking a reaction. I was in a weak emotional state. Until a few hours later, I was more calm. But the point is, you feel so certain about yourself, about the value you provide, that their emotional state don't affect you. Just because they don't like you doesn't mean you shouldn't like yourself. Doesn't mean you shouldn't get into supplicating mode where your body language literally changes, your voice goes of higher pitch, and you start listing all your great achievements so that they like you. That pushes people away. The next one is be the forbidden fruit. People are attracted to those who are already wanted. A big example of the forbidden fruit are celebrities. Even better if there's a celebrity with a big guard guarding them, or people who are out of reach, or even our long distance relationship partner, or even our or people who are in relationships. A lot of times they're wanted. Why? Because they're forbidden fruit. A perfect example is the Romeo and Juliet principle, where because there was an obstacle between they and themselves, they both saw each other as a forbidden fruit. Or even explicitly communicating to them why you can't be with them, why it's a sin, why society wouldn't make it good, why you shouldn't be with them, why you're too busy to be with them, why I'm in med school and I don't know if I can make this work. You become the forbidden fruit. Explaining all the reasons why you shouldn't be together makes you the forbidden fruit. Contradicting body language and looks. It's like me saying, ladies and gentlemen, don't apply these things. The things that I'm teaching you is evil. You should never do that. Clearly, you know what I'm saying when I say that. But seriously, don't do this. please, people, don't be assholes and don't make me look bad. Apply these things with good intentions, okay? But you got the gist of it. It's like saying, it's like setting the tone of friendliness with a hint of sexuality. As an example, for example, I had a girl who I hired to be my artist for a flyer. Long story short, I only did it because I wanted to be friendly, and also I thought she was a lesbian, so I was like, I'm not even gonna hit on her, right? Anyways, halfway through, she was halfway done, and I was like, yo, let's meet up. Let me see what you have, and we got a drink. She then ordered a drink, but when we met, she looked sexy. I was like, the fuck? How? I'm like, yo, she's looking fine. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna hit on her, but man, is she looking fine as hell. By the way, if forbidden fruit, it's like a gay guy to women. A lot of the times they end up falling for their gay friend, or putting a guy in the friend zone, or putting a girl in the friend zone. It's unbelievable. It's like when I started online dating last year, I didn't want to date. I just wanted to make friends. So I would meet women, express that I wanted friendship, and a lot of the time they end up hitting on me. It was so contradicting, to be honest with you, because I'm like, I'm trying to behave here, and now look now this is happening. Anyways, long story short, with that girl, she went to the meeting, and then when we were done, she ordered another drink, and then she just kept looking at me, and I'm like, what the hell is this look? As we're talking about business, she just gave me this look, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, and then she touched my leg, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, Alexis, something's not adding up here. Like, this is supposed to be professional, but she's giving me the come hither look. And then she, after like an hour or two of talking, she just directly said, can I kiss you? And I'm like, what? In my mind. And I'm like, I don't want to say no to her. I don't want to hurt her feelings. So I said yes. See what I just did there? That's another example of the contradicting look, right? But the reason why it creates so... I remember, like, it was charged with sexuality, and the reason why was because of the contradiction, right? It wasn't actually a contradiction. It was just a forbidden aspect of it. It was a professional relationship, and she was injecting sexuality to it by dressing sexy, looking at me in a sexy way, touching me, and then with the crescendo, can I kiss you? It's unbelievable. So being a forbidden fruit does that. The next one is a contradicting look, right? That what I just told you about, the contradicting look. It's almost like Rasputin did that, where he talked about religion and being pure, but then his look betrayed him and says something even more insidious, completely different than his words. And that contradiction creates a sexuality, setting the tone of friendliness, but with hints of sexuality, right? This is why the friend zone is so powerful. Right? So, and that story that I just told you, apply that. Where they show interest through their eyes, but everything else is polite. But the eyes is more sexual. I remember one time, this lady was giving me a foot massage. She was massaging me. I was looking at my phone. But then I just felt somebody was looking at me. And when she was massaging me, she was like this, making eye contact. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I just kept looking away, but she kept looking at me. And then I asked ChatGPT, what does it mean when a masseuse is looking at you very directly in the eye while she's giving you a foot massage? And ChatGPT was like, maybe she's soliciting. I was like, even ChatGPT knows what's up. And it was kind of hot at first, because it was just like, I'm trying to be polite, but she's giving me the I want to give you a happy ending look. I didn't follow through, because I'm like, first of all, lady, you're a little too old for me. She was like this 50-year-old lady, but she was looking fine, you know. And I know a lot of my friends would have gone for that, you know what I'm saying? But it's how that worked. Or another example is like when you're talking to your friends and it's banal, like a love interest, and it's a banal look, and everything looks polite from the outside in, but then they're giving you a look of sexuality, a look of I like you, right? And so the polite air with the sexually charged eyes creates that contradiction that makes people say, what does that mean? You know, like, does this person, I hate that, does this person like me? Like, is it that they're attracted to me? What was that look about? And what happens is that they'll walk back, they'll do whatever they're doing, and they'll think back, what was that look that you were giving them? So I never detailed to you guys the kind of coaching packages that I have to offer. So let's talk about this, right? So if you guys work with me one-on-one, you guys can get all the 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and 45 minutes calls starting at 120 and finishing at 240. I don't do 1 hour call because it never felt necessary to do 1 hour call. And most importantly, the phone calls, as you'll know if you purchase it, are 100% private. And if you want to save up on multiple sessions, what you guys can do is purchase a bundle, right? Where you guys can purchase 3 sessions at a discount, right? Whereas you originally 720, you could get it for 600. 3 30 minutes call will be naturally 540. This time it will be 450, and etc. Right? And also I have something called Coach in a Pocket, where you guys can hire me for a whole month. And it starts at $1,500 a month, but you guys have access to me for a whole day. Like, it starts at that, so it's like for 2 or 3 times a week, you guys have access to me 24 for those 24 hours. So if you guys have like an ongoing relationship thing that needs to be managed, and you need me in your pocket instantly, that's the package to get first. But I initially recommend you purchasing one of the one-on-one sessions first, so that I could assess your situation. And if I feel like it needs more time, then yes, you guys can do that. Another thing that we have is that you guys can ask email questions with a character limit of 2K, where for $90 you guys can ask me a question. And those videos, those email questions, you guys can make it very specific so that nobody knows it's you, because they're the ones that I make on YouTube, right? But if you guys want the private ones, get the one-on-one coaching calls. And one last thing is that if you order a one-on-one session with me, you guys can also purchase any of my courses at 50% off. All you got to do is just ask me, and I'll just, whichever course you want, you can get it at 50% off. So the one-on-one coaching calls are things that are made to be private, specific, and straight to the point. All right. Click in the description down below to work with me one-on-one, and I'll see you guys there, or I'm closing the channel.